know what we've never done, Jen? Slacklining.
Ooh.
Maybe
I don't
not
even know
in
what
your
that
current
is.
state,
That would
but
be so hard.
I did get a slackline.
Oh, is it the one you have to try to like?
But we don't have two good trees in our yard. We only have one good tree, so there's not enough distance for any slack.
It's a rope that you walk on.
Well, it's kind of like a toe strap that you walk on. It's like, wide, like 2.5 3
Yeah, I
inches
remember you
wide.
talking about
Have you
this.
done
Yeah.
it before?
Yeah, I did. I stink at it, but it's fun. It's a good
Yeah.
workout, and
It
it's
is a
kind of
good
like makes you get zen. You gotta
I
do
remember seeing this
breathing.
like documentary on YouTube where they put it across a canyon, and they were like strapped into it.
Yeah.
But then I remember seeing this one where they were like curious because this guy was like the biggest joker of the group, and all of a sudden one day he just started taking it seriously and was like going on this thing. And then one morning he woke up early and everyone else woke up, and they looked out and they saw him halfway on the rope without any support or anything like that. And he was just walking across it because he was like dead set on doing this without any
Wow.
supports. And he did it.
Wow. I mean, I
I
respect
feel like I would not be good at that.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd get very far.
it.
2 steps. So spit my gum out.
Oh, nice. The listeners will love that you for that.
Hmm?
She
What?
said she has to spit her gum out.
Oh.
Yeah. I was gonna make popcorn, but I'm like, oh, I'll make a snack. So they come. And then, like, popcorn's the worst snack we can make.
Yeah.
So one of
true.
these days I'm just gonna make it.
That's what I had, right? Or
Just deal with it.
chips. It was chips or
You
popcorn.
can't just deal with it.
Oh, we're all
doesn't
good with
work.
this. We all put
Yeah,
some-
yeah.
I
I'll
feel
try
like
it.
you're gonna hear that still.
Oh, they'll hear it.
No.
I mean, my chewing is probably louder than my voice.
Did
so.
anybody do the mini crossword and see the Hobbit thing in it?
No.
I don't
Was
even
this
know what
like
you're
the
talking-
New York Times mini?
Yeah.
Cool.
I do the mini every day. That's my game that I've given my allegiance to. I gave up on the
Nice.
Wordle, but I do the mini. But yeah, it was like
Did you already spoil it, or can we all take guesses on what it is now?
let me check if it was yesterday or today. I already did it. But it's from The Hobbit, so I didn't really know what it was.
Oh, that is tough.
Yeah, it's today's. Should I tell you the clue?
Yeah. I want to hear
Okay.
the clue.
Answer to Gollum's riddle in The Hobbit, which starts... I don't know.
Any guesses, Jen?
A cavity?
Why?
A gold filling?
Something like a box without keys or hinges or lid, but inside golden treasure is hid.
Your heart.
That's what I was thinking too.
Aw.
Golden treasure?
Hold on, my
No.
mic is not working for some reason.
That's fine.
No.
I'm just kidding.
There goes Chad's like, you can shut up.
No, I'm kidding. It was too
Wait,
quick.
what is
This
the
is
answer
too
to the
easy.
riddle?
Oh, you still on the answer or more
Yes.
hints?
Unless you have a really good hand.
No, if I remember correctly, it was egg.
Egg?
An egg. Oh, like the yolk? Golden?
Oh, golden. You know, I've never even put that together. I thought it was more like metaphorical
Golden egg.
gold. But that makes a lot of sense. Nice.
I'm not usually good at this stuff.
Egg
so.
isn't a box.
It's so true. So
Well,
It doesn't
true.
even say
Like
a
a
box,
technical
though, does it? It
But you
literally
know
said
what?
Box?
If
I don't
it's a-
remember who told which riddle. Oh, actually, I don't want to spoil anything. Never mind.
If it's a box without a lid, it's just not a box. It's just enclosed.
Now that's an interesting point. If it can't be opened, that's a great point.
Hold on. Everyone, is my audio working? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Is water wet?
Nice. She said it went great, right? What? Your interview.
Yeah, it was really good. He was just so like easy to talk to, which made me feel like I couldn't have a wrong answer.
I know.
But then I was like, I still think I feel like I could have done better, but.
But I think you always feel like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're not gonna walk away from an interview like I crushed that.
Yeah.
I have.
Really?
All right,
Even
Jen.
the job you literally have
No,
now,
this
you
was-
walked away from it.
no,
You're
no,
like,
no.
I did so bad.
Yeah.
No, I
And
knew
you got
that.
the job.
That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to keep in mind too, because I was like, if it goes horribly, now I know what an interview's like. Now I
Yeah.
know how I feel. What I need
all
to
the
work on.
experiences.
But it sounds like I'm gonna go to the second round, which is like the panel of
Sick.
3 people and then me. So.
Were you interviewing with the guy who will be like your boss?
No, he is just like the hiring manager for
Oh, okay.
everybody. So I think he does like the whole nation, essentially.
Oh my, good man to know then.
I know.
Make a good
That's
And
impression.
right.
that's why
Keeps
he's
you
a
in
good
mind.
interviewer.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's definitely good at what he does.
That's awesome.
He picked up the phone, and it just was like a game show. Like he was like, "This is this company. You're interviewing for this job at this place," and it was just like I was like, "Yes, I am.
Like,
Happy to
"Oh,
talk to you."
alright."
Wait, was it a Zoom or in person? I forget.
It was a phone, so
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Those are a little weird sometimes, so I'm glad it was.
Yeah, it
felt
was like
good.
30 minutes, so it wasn't. Cause like when I was googling phone screening, they were like they're either gonna ask you like, are you eligible to work, or do you know this, that, the other, and it's like super just like check the to-do list off.
Yep.
But this one was like more of a interview, like resume review. Like we just talked about all my past experiences and like what I did in school,
Yeah.
and then like what the job is. So
Sounds like.
yeah,
That's
he was
cool.
really funny too. He kept cracking jokes. It was good.
A man who likes his job.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a good sign.
Good company, I guess.
Yeah.
Those dimples, I just want to squeeze it.
Why wouldn't you go to the big one?
There we go.
Small of 15 people.
Hang out with your friends.
Because you really only want the friends. Not the...
No, basically, I just want to go somewhere nice and like say hi from afar to people.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
why the big one's nice. You can just blend
That's what
in.
I'm saying. I don't really want to go to this.
Oh,
Oh, you
you're saying
don't
the
wanna go
big
to
is
both of
better, small is a little like, eh.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed. Sorry if that was.
Yeah, that's true. Because then you're trying to like make conversation.
Because then I'm
the
gonna
entire
bring you
time.
with me, and then we'll
Ugh.
hang out.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you
not
don't
gonna
even wanna
talk
go.
to anyone, but they have it at cool places. It's like on the pier or something in the city. I don't
Wait,
know.
we're talking the big one now.
Yeah.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
The Mexican restaurant is my group of friends,
That's the
Ooh.
small one.
Oh, that's a nice one.
but none of them know that I'm not down to party now. So
Guess we'll have to get down to party.
yeah.
All right, we're in business. Sorry.
Excellent.
We just record.
It's just 2
Perfect.
chapters or 3?
3.
Oh,
3.
I did listen to it all,
But I will say the last 2, I think were
oh, I remember.
less
now.
action packed. Flotsam and Jetsam was great. That one's gonna be like an hour discussion.
I didn't read the last like I don't know, maybe 5 pages. But no, then I did sit down like an hour ago to finish it, and it was all of like the orb thing and the actual
Yeah,
plan.
it was
And
the
I was like,
good.
all right, this is important.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
glad that you
figuring
did that.
nothing would happen in the last little bit.
What time do we have to wrap up? You give us a deadline. We'll stick to it.
I just I had to wake up so early.
Yeah, I know. So give us a
I forgot
deadline.
it's 3 chapters. I thought it was
Deadline?
2.
No, we'll be quick. Well, I don't think we're gonna be that.
What's curfew
that
time,
fast.
Jen?
I don't know. You scare me, John. You're like that. One chapter's gonna be an hour.
And then both the other ones are going to
And
be an
then I
hour
was
each
like,
too.
oh shoot.
Duh.
I'm not gonna be home until 11.
No way.
We do operate well with a specific time. But if we don't have a specific time, there's lots to discuss.
Yeah, seriously. I know. All right, well, let's jump into it and discuss. What do you guys think of... Actually, let's talk about this to start. What has your favorite chapter been of the entire series so far? If you can remember.
Of this book or the series?
No, of the whole entire, all 3 books.
Oh my god.
How would I remember that?
I only asked that too because Flotsam and Jetsam, or Flotsam and Jetsam, however you pronounce it, was a really good chapter. It was one of my favorites.
That one was good.
I really like that
That's
one.
my favorite of the 3.
There you go.
I can't think that far.
I remember loving the Lorien chapter that
Yeah,
no one else
that's a good one.
liked. But I also liked Treebeard and
You also...
Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep was really
Oh,
good.
yeah.
chapter.
You also like the Many Meetings chapter.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
yeah.
Where
that
they
was
meet
good.
at Rivendell.
In
and they
hindsight,
finally
that's
see-
like
yeah.
really good.
I think my favorite one is still A Conspiracy Unmasked. When they move and then Merry and Pippin and Sam were like, we're coming with you, whether you liked it or not. I don't know why, but I just really like that.
Yep.
Like they got back to the house. There was a nice like meal. He had prepared like baths for them. It was great.
Man, there are a lot of good ones. I think of The Mines of Moria stands out. I'm thinking of some of the early interactions leaving the Shire. This chapter, one of these, mentioned Gildor, and I was like, oh yeah, that was so great. Like just the first bits of magic. And I loved Bree. Like when they're first meeting Strider, there was so much like mystery.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But the Fellowship, the Council of Elrond, I think that was my favorite chapter. It just stands out. I think that takes the cake.
Yeah,
at
there
the
was so
moment.
much good stuff in that chapter.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. Just like a recap on what everyone's been doing for the last like 10 years.
Yep.
It was great. But yeah, these 3, I asked that because this chapter, the first of the 3 we're going to discuss, was just so good. I really enjoyed it. So let's jump into discussing it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny.
And Lizzie.
and this is the Fellowship of the First Time Readers. Did I do that wrong? I feel
No.
It
No,
sounded good
you
to
just
me.
hesitated. And I was confused.
I always forget sometimes. Okay, so what do you guys think of this chapter? What notes do you have in there? What things of
A
I
discussion do
thought
you
it
have?
was good. I don't think it's my
Oh.
favorite chapter.
Really?
Same.
It definitely like it moves. There's a lot of interesting little tidbits, but I don't know. It's not my favorite ever.
I kind of like the dynamic of, and the whole books kind of feel like this in some way, where you're past the action and it's being recounted to you.
Yeah.
Because there's no pressure, but you're hearing all of the fun, and it's peaceful and exciting at the same time. Like they're sitting there smoking, drinking, eating, and just reminiscing, or I guess Merry and Pippin are catching them up. So that I like that dynamic. It's like very adventurous but peaceful at the same time.
But we need a summary.
Oh,
Oh, good. Thank you, Jen.
Merry and
segue.
Pippin tell Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli the story of Treebeard and Isengard while they all eat, drink, and smoke. The Ents attacked and flooded Isengard. Now Wormtongue and Saruman are in Orthanc. Trapped.
What
It
is
would-
Orthanc?
Is
Did we get that explanation?
is that the tower itself?
That was my
so.
reading
Okay.
of it. Like Isengard is based a little on the description and also the movie. It sounds like there's a giant wall that's like a mile in diameter or like something big, or maybe it's a mile from wall to center. And in the center is the tower, which is Orthanc,
Yeah,
and it's a little magical.
I feel like that's what I got too.
Is that where he sent Gandalf to be?
Yeah, Gandalf was
He was
on
at
the top of that
roof.
tower, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice,
yeah.
Crushing it. I forgot what I was gonna say. I think there were a few reasons why I really like this chapter, because I think it had a good combination of a ton of things. Like it was really comedic. Like one of my favorite moments was at the end when Merry and Pippin don't even know that Gandalf is alive,
Oh,
and then they
yeah,
recount
yeah,
that
yeah.
Gandalf came flying in. He's like, "You tomfool of a tooth." I'm like, he doesn't even say anything to them with just that. And then he's like, "Where is Treebeard?" And I love Pippin recounting that. So it had good comedy, and then the drama of the Ents and like how they sieged Isengard to me was really cool. Like it was just different from the movie,
Yep.
which I really liked. But the book was just fantastic. It was interesting how like you said like their roots would branch out and then like break the stone. It was like watching them
Yeah.
over 100 years and 5 seconds.
Breadcrumbs.
I love that
Yeah.
wording. Yeah, so
Great.
good.
They seemed so powerful in
Mhm.
this chapter. Like the arrows wouldn't touch them.
Yeah.
And then I loved he was like, oh, he got positively hasty.
Yeah.
And it was like
That's a
him
great
getting
one.
mad
Yeah.
and like really aggravated. Yeah, they're so cool.
And then you have the Huorns.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah, I
they're
didn't know how to
I
say
couldn't
it.
either.
How'd they say it in the book?
I
Do you
said
listen to the-
horns.
The
They
horns.
were just saying horns.
I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
horns.
Kind of makes sense.
There you go.
So how are they different
trying
from
to find where
Ents
it's written.
though?
Well, they have the description in the book that kind of says they're more dangerous than the Ents because they've
Yeah.
gone more tree-like. I don't know if they were Ents and then they've like given up their Ent ways and they become trees.
Because I think later it said
It's a great
something like they
question.
were meaner or like more
Yeah.
evil or something.
They're more dangerous. I should be terrified of meeting them if there were no true Ents about to look after them. He says there is a great power in them and they seem to be able to wrap themselves in shadow, which is probably what you saw in the previous chapter when
Hmm.
those big wall of shadows.
Is that
and
why
mist was
Ents are
coming.
the herders?
I guess
Because
so.
they're like keeping them in check.
But there seems like there's a ton of Ents though. And it says it is difficult to see them moving, but they do. They can move very quickly. If they are angry, you stand still looking at the weather maybe or listening to the rustling of wind, and then you find that you are in the middle of a wood with great groping trees all around you. They still have voices and they can speak with the Ents, and is why they are called Hurons. Horns, Treebeard says. They have
Maybe
become
he had an
queer and
accent,
wild.
but it sounded like horns.
Oh, that's true.
Somebody's gonna be like, "That's not how you pronounce it."
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go by me.
But they were they were kind of cool in the book. They seemed just like more dangerous and wild versions of
Yeah.
Ents, like more prone to be hasty, I guess, but more secretive too.
But I like how they all came together and were like the chants and the songs to like
Yeah, true.
charge.
It was awesome.
They didn't do that in the movies as much, right?
No, all you have in the movie is like Treebeard gives that one yell, and then it like echoes through the trees.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
great
yeah.
music in that scene, but that's about it. I'm actually curious, like what they would look like if they would actually look different from Ents.
But they were following some of the orcs that went in the 10,000 that left.
Yeah.
Some of them were following them, right?
Yep.
And then some of them were destroying.
Yeah, as soon as Isengard emptied out, then there were a bunch of horns that just went and like followed these guys right to Helm's Deep. And they do this in the extended edition too, because when the orcs are fleeing, they flee into the forest. But then if you see before, like Aragorn looks out over the battlefield in one scene, and it's just like nothing. It's just like a dirty, sandy expanse. And I guess that just means the Hurons came or whatever, and they just like lined up and they just were ready to kill him. But it's really subtle.
There are like a few things in the movie that I feel like are like that. They're like subtle. You can tell that they were big book fans.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. Slipping a few things in there. But then other things, I just thought of a little less subtle, like the growing from drinking whatever the Ent juice is, the water. In the movies, it was really like blatant. You know, they're sipping it like, oh. But in the book, it's more, you don't get it until a few chapters later.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, you actually are taller.
Yeah, I like that they just noticed it, and Legolas is like, "Oh, you were drinking Ent water."
Yeah, that's right.
And then like, I love some of Gimli's moments in this these chapters too. Just like they're ready to spill tales, and all of a sudden he goes, "It would go better after a meal. I have a sore head. It is past midday. You truants may make amends by finding us some plunder that you spoke of. Food and drink would pay off some of my score against you." And they just kind of sit down and have a meal together. It's great. I find myself really loving like these breaks within the book. Like what you were
Same.
saying, after like the war, then you just have a time where they're just chill and they're like swapping stories around a meal.
It's like a Quidditch match for you.
Yeah, seriously. I was actually just thinking that in my head about that, like comparing it to that to some extent.
One thing I love about how these are written is they're from multiple points of view, but they cross over. And I've read like so many books that are different POVs and they never cross over. And I didn't really realize it until I started reading these, that like it's so fun to stop and then see it from like their side, or just like have a retelling. Because like I haven't really read many other books like that at all. And I just like, it's so much more, I don't know. It's like, it's not even like, oh, I'm hearing the story again. I've been there, done that. Like, it's just, I love it from their different personalities, and like it really is like integrated into the writing. So like that's one little thing that I love about this book too. Just like the story is just like all meshed
It all
together.
coalesces
Yeah.
perfectly.
It's
And
perfect.
he does really good with like writing styles of each person too. I feel like
Yeah.
he gets very good into their voice. Here's a question that I had. It says, and this is first rate salted pork, or I can cut you some rashers of bacon and broil them if you like. I am sorry there's no green stuff. The deliveries have been rather interrupted in the last few days. Is he just talking about vegetables there? I did not know what that was.
Green
I'm like,
Yeah.
is this like a Hobbit's just term for vegetables? Or is there like some specific green thing that I missed in the book before?
No, that's a great point. When I first heard it, I thought it was talking about some kind of like smokable thing.
Yeah, like a pipe.
Oh, like
Yeah,
a
like
But
blanket or
then
something?
they said there's none of that, so then it can't be that, because
Yeah.
we know that they did have some kind of pipe
Yeah.
tobacco. So yeah, with green stuff, veggies.
I didn't know what that
I
was.
mean, they
Lettuce,
love
I mean, yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah, there you go. That's true. I feel like that was a comment for like Legolas. I feel like he's the vegetarian of the group. He's like,
And
"I
does
can't
he
eat
not
any of that
smoke?
stuff."
Yeah,
He was
I
kind
don't
of like
think he
strange
did.
folk, wreathing yourself in smoke.
Mm.
And I feel like there were other times, or it made one other comment about him like being nearby but not smoking.
Yeah, because he lives forever.
Yeah, I
Smoking
guess
kills
so.
you,
You,
you know?
you don't want to do anything. Fair point.
Or he doesn't want to hurt the plants, you know?
Ooh,
When they
wow.
smoke a
Never
leaf.
thought about that. You're right. They have to be a little more careful what they're eating.
I love Pippin overpacking too and having a second pipe, and he never used it. He's
Yes.
like Doomsayer, but he will always have that thing with him. Just
So
pulls it out of
great.
nowhere, and Gimli's like, "Oh, now I'm in your debt." Great section. I loved how every month in the Shire has 30 days. It's one of the only little footnotes that I got in the book. More perfect society right there. That's what we need.
Hard.
Well, I
The
did then
what?
wonder
The
how is
months?
that possible?
Well, that's what they say for ours. People. I don't know what they want. I think they want
A 13-month, 28
13 month, 28
yeah.
days. Yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah,
Whoa,
'Cause then it
what
is
a dream.
yeah that is perfect.
That's
Every
how it
month
used to be, I think.
Starts on a
Yeah.
Monday, all right? Or every month could start on the same day of the week, end
Yeah.
on the same day. It would
Yeah.
be so clean.
It would be so clean.
I'm a big fan. But I'm just trying to figure out on the planet that is Middle Earth or whatever, if they could have 30 days in every month, how many months are there? Because then we can figure
Yeah.
out the size of the planet.
Well,
Um,
I have news for you because I just found this out the other day.
wow, cool.
You know, the planet of Middle Earth is our planet.
That's
It is just
canon?
the Middle Earth. It is.
Oh
we're
my
late. We're in
The
late Earth.
middle-
We
I guess
so
there
we
was
are
early
officially. I
Earth.
heard you say late Earth before.
Oh, it's like a
Wow.
time period?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know when
Love
this was.
it.
I guess this
I
is like
really do love
civilizations
that.
come and go, and there was like I don't know. I don't exactly know, but there was like a huge amount of downtime, and like all these things passed away, and then now we're in this
Mhm.
time right now.
We're
We're in late
later.
Earth.
Late?
I think that's what it's
Middle
called. Isn't
Earth
that crazy?
alone
So
Yeah,
it's our
I
planet.
love that.
thousands of years.
Yeah. There's I pulled up I got this like illustrated book of some guy like illustrated a history of Middle Earth or something like that. And I like flipped through the first 2 pages, and then I just saw that he like illustrated the parting of the continents, and it looked like our globe, and I was like, hold on, wait. And so I like read a little bit of it, and then most people were like, just be careful, that illustrator is really controversial, and he's like not canon or something like that. But everyone agrees that it is.
So at least for that fact, that's
Yeah,
so
that
great.
fact I think is true.
Hmm.
It's pretty crazy. I might be totally wrong on that because I didn't research anything.
Someone's
other
yelling
than,
at the video right now.
other than
like,
anything
"No,
else.
no, no."
Let me know if that's right
He
or
said
wrong.
it
Might
so
be true.
confidently, you would never know.
Just add your own lore.
Yeah.
I also did immediately think it was weird that they had some of the, was it long bottom leaf? No, hornblower brand marks on the long bottom leaf. And I was like, wait, there's like shipping in Middle Earth and whatever.
Yeah.
So then I thought it was great when Aragorn, even by some point, he was like, wait, I'm going to mention that to Gandalf. That is weird. I didn't think anything left the Shire. I didn't think there were any connections to the Shire outside of a very, very small area. So I'm curious if that's going to lead to anything later. It sounds like it will since it was mentioned twice.
When I read that, I was like, I hope this doesn't come back to Bilbo's adventures
Well,
and like
oh,
somehow
good
he
point.
passed it to somebody and it ended up with Saruman. Because
But-
like in the beginning, it's like so, it pushes so much that like he had all these adventures. He knows the dwarves.
True.
So I don't know.
And then they said that this had a marking that was recent. So whatever relationship began, maybe through Bilbo,
Yeah.
if it was with Saruman, I'm assuming Saxville Baggins's.
No, it's
like,
the
Foul
Hornblowers.
play.
But are they doing it direct?
I think they're doing it direct.
Wow,
That's my guess.
So impressive.
Amazon.
I like pinning the blame on the Sackville Baggins.
But also,
Definitely
they might
is
have
that.
assumed that Saruman was good, just like everybody else assumed until not that long ago.
Yeah.
So doing a little trade with him was no big deal. But if it is something evil, wait, who's the guy we don't like? Bill
Fernie.
Fernie. Yeah, it could be him. Although I don't know if he's well traveled, but you know,
Yeah.
Bill Fernie. Is that the guy from
he was the
Bree?
guy from Bree, yeah, who was grumpy
Okay.
that they got Bill the pony from.
It was interesting too because they kind of mentioned that in this chapter too because there were
Yeah,
orcs and
he
they were like,
was.
"Oh, it reminded me of the Southerners in Bree or whatever they said."
Oh, also they mentioned an orc with a hairy arm, and I guess I never thought about it. I didn't think of orcs as hairy. I thought of them as like, I don't know, like
That's why they're called orcs. They're just
lizardy.
really, really hairy men. They're like, "Oh
I
man."
was like, I guess they have hair on their heads, but like hairy arms, I just never thought of it.
That's
Okay.
true.
They came from
They're
trees,
kind of
so
lizardy in the
obviously
movies.
we can't.
But I pictured that being the Hornblowers selling directly to Saruman. And have you guys heard about the chapter at the end of the books that is like wasn't in the movies? People talk about how it's not in the movies.
Nope.
Okay, so I won't even talk about that then.
I have
But
no
there
idea.
was like a
talk about it.
fabled chapter that's at the end of the books that I'm not even going to mention anymore. But I just have theories
Why?
based on that because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
You should just go in blind and be excited for whatever you
Okay.
see there. But I just have a theory that it's connected with that. And there's
like
like a lot of fun connections in this chapter too because they also do something with the swords. There's something weird going on with the swords that they have because it seemed to burn one of the orcs. Like Pippin told a story, or when they got the swords
Oh, interesting.
back from Aragorn, it says,
Which I love that he kept this stuff.
Yeah,
It's so-
agreed. That was fantastic. He says, but Ugluk took them from us. How he glared. At first I thought he was going to stab me, but he threw the things away as if they burned him. So that could just be like a metaphor for like he just didn't like them at all, and he was just like, oh, these are like, elven made, and he just tossed them. But could they actually be burning him? Is there some like
I love that.
Jen, is there some ancient magic in this?
Oh, ancient magic.
Oh boy.
I feel like yes. I'm down for that. Because Galadriel gave them all their swords, right?
No.
Oh, wait. That's different in the movies.
They gave them the Galadriel didn't give them the
She got-
swords. She gave them belts and sheaths, I guess. They got the swords. Remember where they got the swords? Quiz time.
No, I don't. I
Danny,
will
you
as
remember where
soon
they
as
got
you
the swords?
say it.
They got the swords in the barrow from
Yeah.
the Barrow Whites.
And Tom.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Tom went and cleared
Oh,
out the,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
tombs.
So Tom made them magical.
Maybe Tom just like imbibed them
But
with
we
some
know
kind
that
of
the magic goes beyond Tom because I think he told them that, or maybe Aragorn did. Somebody said something like the ancient kings who were buried here, the swords are awesome because of some kind of like they filled them with magic that made them like extra potent. I forget what the whole deal
Yeah.
was.
Wasn't that Rings of Power?
What was it? I
Yeah.
thought it was from this, but it totally could be because we
Might
just
be.
saw that episode after we read that part in the book.
Because
where-
Galadriel was fighting with them
Yep.
in Rings of Power.
Hmm.
That sounds like a line from that show.
because you know what? I was connecting it to, but I might have just made up headcanon in there, the Witch King of Angmar, because I thought maybe these men that were buried in the barrow were
I think
from
it was.
Angmar.
No, I think you're right.
And
or no, I think the Witch King waged war on this kingdom.
Oh,
And they were it was a Numenorian kingdom, I believe. And then they suppressed them, and the Witch King sent these Barrow-wights to this place to occupy it so that they couldn't retake this city or something like that.
So if you got a sword sitting in that grave, it's definitely magical.
100%.
That's what
Bottom
I'm
line,
thinking.
Yeah,
this thing is
we
magical.
love
It's like the
magic.
pyramids.
Yeah, it really is like the
It's
pyramids.
like, don't open anything.
Wait, is that side note? Is that one thing that they found about the pyramids true? This is like 2 months ago. How the pyramids are like there's like the chambers
I don't know
that go
why you think that's
like
not
way
real.
down.
Yeah, it's like so far deep. That's like to the crust of the earth.
Like,
Isn't it like that was the surface of the earth though? Like, wouldn't it be higher? Because aren't we digging and finding everything anyway?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. Maybe that's
I
dumb
don't know
reasoning.
either. A little archaeological question in the middle of this.
To the tree girl.
Yeah.
I can't speak on those matters.
What else do you guys have in this chapter?
I had this Aragorn says this about Saruman, that there are not many in Middle-earth that I should say were safe if they were left alone to talk with him, even now when he has suffered a defeat. Gandalf, Elrond, and Galadriel, perhaps, now that his wickedness has been laid bare, but very few others. And I was like, 3 people in the entire Middle-earth, Gandalf, Elrond, and Galadriel, perhaps? I was like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yep.
Like, that's
He
some
was-
insane power.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to the next chapter because he was deceptive in that chapter.
Yeah, and then knowing the next chapter about his voice, it's like
Sweet talking,
you can't even, you're defenseless.
Yeah, 100%.
Almost.
It's a creepy chapter.
Yeah, Saruman was really creepy in here, just like laughing,
Yeah,
and it's just carrying in the wind.
and then he said something, and it seemed to I think it seemed to fool everyone there, and then all of a sudden Gandalf just laughed, and it broke the spell on everyone, or something like that. Cool stuff in that chapter. We'll get there. One thing that I really loved in this chapter is I think this is one of the chapters where I really came to love Aragorn, because in the movie he's doesn't concern himself that much with the hobbits. He's on to kingly business, because in this Theoden and his Kingsguard and Gandalf go around and they talk to Treebeard, and Aragorn probably should be there because he's the rightful king of Gondor. Probably should be negotiating with these people and talking about details. But instead, he skirts that and he sits with the hobbits and with Legolas and Gimli and just hangs out and wants to swap stories and eat a meal with them. I'm that made me love him, because I'm he's just a simple-minded guy at heart.
The ranger.
Yeah, he's a ranger from the north. And there was that one line in Bree when he talks about sometimes a hunted man wearies of distrust and longs for friendship. And I feel this was one of the best lines.
Whoa,
this was the fulfillment of that.
Memorize that
I
one.
did. I wrote a lot about it this week. Because I feel it was kind of the fulfillment of that, because he is now gaining friends. This is his first real little thing that he's sitting down with friends at a meal, enjoying just swapping stories. So I really loved Aragorn in this moment, because I just thought he was in his element. Because I'm not the biggest Aragorn. I mean, I like him, but he's not my favorite. Gimli is my favorite. This moment, I really, really started to like him now.
I love that.
Yeah. What else you guys got in this chapter?
Well, it seems like Treebeard knew Gandalf was alive and didn't tell Merry and Pippin. And I was like, he knew this whole time and heard that story. And then at first I was annoyed at Treebeard, and I didn't go back to read it. I'm like, I don't think he mentioned anything. But in the movies, didn't it kind of imply that they already ran into Gandalf, so it wasn't as big of a deal?
Yeah.
But here they didn't know at all. And then they said, a queer look he gave us at that time when they mentioned that Gandalf died. And in hindsight, they're like, oh, I guess he probably already knew. But he didn't tell them. I guess he trusted Gandalf.
Yeah.
And said, well, if Gandalf wanted them to know, he would have shown himself to them or told me Or how would he know that they were going to cross paths, though? Come to think of it, that makes no sense.
I just think that is so funny for how this next little section goes when it's like, there was no need. He just halted by us and looked down at us. Gandalf, I said at last. He's like so excited to see him. I said, but my voice was only a whisper. Did he say, hello, Pippin? This is a pleasant surprise. No, indeed. He said, get up, you tomfool of a toot. Where in the name of wonder in all this ruinous Treebeard? I want him quick. I thought that was so funny.
That is really funny.
Ugh. And then, Treebeard getting hasty. The whole siege of Isengard is really interesting to me. It was like they surrounded the city, or they surrounded this like these walls, and then all of a sudden they started banging at the gates. And then all the orcs left. The Hurons followed them. They started banging at the gates. Then it was just like a slow siege. They ran off. They started digging these holes and like rerouting the river. And Gandalf comes up later and pleads with them to keep the whole area flooded. Like the whole siege was really interesting to me. It was a lot more tactical and a lot more like slow than the movies. Because in the movies, they seem like this overpowering army, but then I love the idea where he's hasty now. He's ready to kill this guy.
And I like that they cared for the river. They're like preparing to route it back to where it belongs. And
they're
good
really
stewards. Cool. And I guess Treebeard knows about the ring now. He said, about Merry and Pippin, he said, you said much less than you might and no more than you should. So I think Gandalf kind of updated him on everything, but I'm curious if they have more of a role to play.
Yeah, me too. Wonder if they are going to come back. I do like, I think it was the next chapter when the rest of them meet Treebeard, and Legolas and Treebeard have like a little discussion. He's like, I love Fangorn. He's like, I'm going to bring my elf, my friend back. He's like, oh, elves are welcome anytime. Oh, no, he's a dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're not bringing him.
He's like, that's a weird friendship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like, I've never seen this.
I thought that was great. Legolas going back to Fangorn. I hope we get that in the movies or in like a show or something like that. What else you guys have in this chapter? I also really liked the resilience of hobbits here. I think you see that a lot. And it's interesting too, because so there's this one line that I kind of feel like this is kind of where the resilience was. Maybe I misread this. It says, no one else would dare to ride through the open land, so full of foul orcs, he said. So I was sent, and I've had a perilous journey, and I'm hungry and weary. I fled far north out of my way, pursued by wolves. I caught the sidelong look he gave to Treebeard, and I said to myself, liar. Treebeard looked at him in his long, slow way for several minutes, till the wretched man was squirming on the floor. Then at last he said, I was expecting you, Master Wormtongue. The man started at the name. Gandalf got here first, so I know as much about you as I need, and I know what to do with you. Put all the rats in one trap, said Gandalf, and I will. I am the master of Isengard now. But Saruman is locked in his tower, and you can go there and give him all the messages that you can think of. So there's this one line, because this is Pippin giving the story, and then he says, I caught the sideline look he gave to Treebeard, and I said to myself, liar. It's almost like Saruman's and Wormtongue's magic has no power over him, and he's like able to call this out as being a liar. And I was like, maybe I'm misreading that.
No, I agree, but I didn't even think of like how Wormtongue has such a spell even over kings.
Yeah.
And Saruman as well, but then the hobbits are like, they can spot it.
Yeah.
That's great.
It just makes me feel like they're even just more resilient against like everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Gandalf keeps saying that too, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he kind of explained that to Pippin in 2 chapters when they're riding off to Minas Tirith.
Oh, yeah.
What, you're being sarcastic, or do you remember?
No, I just finished it.
Because I thought that's what you were referencing, where he's like, hobbits recover quickly,
No,
just
but
they're
Gandalf
so hardy.
has said it throughout the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, on that last chapter he said it.
And then this also makes me think too. So like, hobbits have resilience, but then we get to the Palantir chapter, which is the last chapter in this book, and then they don't have resilience. Pippin at least doesn't have resilience over it. He touches it once, and then all he wants to do, it's like in the Finding Nemo, I'm gonna touch the butt. Like all he wants to do is go touch this thing again, like go look at it, and he cannot resist it, which makes me think those things are kind of terrifying. Like those things are, I'm not gonna say worse than the ring, but maybe they are. The Seeing Stones are weird. They have less power, but they seem kind of dark. They seem a little strange.
Yeah, it was way creepier in the books.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was so much more drawn out too. Like
Yeah.
he was laying down, thinking over it, wanting to talk to Gandalf about it.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys have anything else in this chapter before we go to the next?
I'm good. What is a flotsam and a jetsam? Have we established
Oh
that?
yeah, we never settled that one.
Yeah. Who is that? What is it?
The only other thing I had written was a possibility for the Longbottom Leaf that Gandalf gave it to Saruman as a gift. Because then I was like, well, if it was, stamped from not that long ago, how long ago was Gandalf coming in as a friend? And he would be a direct line to the Shire. So I thought maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of like that. Means the hobbits or the Shire is kind of out of they're not evil things happen in the Shire. All right, chapter 10, The Voice of Saruman.
Saruman speaks to the crew in spells, but Gandalf is more powerful now. Saruman chooses to stay locked in his tower for now, and the Ents will guard or watch him. Then the whole crew says goodbye to Treebeard, and it kind of feels like they're about to leave. And then we find out they do leave. Can't believe he's still alive.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
And they just leave him there, yeah.
Wait a second.
He doesn't get impaled by that big spiky thing.
And then I'm like, well, what is going to happen to him? And does he come back? And I instantly was trying to think farther in the story. Like, where will he do something? Will it get resolved? I don't know.
It seems like I'm conflicted on this because it's good that they're showing him mercy, but also not good that they're showing him mercy because he's like one of the most powerful people in Middle Earth, if not he's
and
definitely
he has
top
such power to
5.
sway everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
But he doesn't have his staff anymore.
Oh, he cracked the staff.
Yeah, that was a cool part.
Wait, that's not your summary?
Yeah, good point.
Get him, Jen.
Yeah.
So the cracking of the staff was cool, but he still seems
how
powerful. Good.
No, it's towards the end. No, Gandalf just giving him a second chance to turn away.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, what are we doing?
I know. I was like, why are you giving him a second chance? But I mean, that's maybe the right thing for some people to do. Give someone a second chance.
Yeah.
But it's weird because it felt like Gandalf was not so merciful even when it came to Wormtongue. And everyone in Rohan seemed to be like, oh yeah, if he runs into Wormtongue, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So how come Gandalf was so willing to be...
He was friends with him, though.
Yeah, true. And I guess they already gave Wormtongue the choice. Stay, be loyal, prove you're good, or leave, and then maybe we'll get you. And then he kind of gave the same choice to Saruman here.
But he knew his Saruman, and he was betrayed by him. He was friends. He was on the council.
Yeah.
He hid things from Gandalf. Saruman hid things. So then it was is it actually him, or is it the evil taking over him? And then if he turns away from it, can I have who he was back? Maybe? I don't know.
And did the Palantir make him a little worse? Like a little
That's
spell?
that stone.
Yeah, like the little thing. Wait, stone? Yeah.
Globe thing?
Yeah.
Crystal
I pictured
ball
it fully
globe.
movie-like, but...
What?
I pictured it just like in the movie, but I'm
Yeah,
like...
me too.
They
It's
did
like a
mention the
crystal
stone.
ball.
I think so. That's kind of how I pictured
That's
it.
how I pictured it, but then they said
They did
that's
say Stone of
stone,
Orthanc,
so-
yeah. So...
It made me think a little bit too. I feel like I don't actually know about this. A lot of these not like outright evil characters, because I feel like the orcs are just kind of like these evil characters, and there's like almost offered no redemption or like, you know, mercy. But all the bad characters we've run into have like almost all been offered some kind of mercy. Like Théoden is the one who offers Wormtongue mercy, so maybe it's like, you know, there's power in a bunch of people who are on the good side, because on one day Gandalf might want to kill, you know, Wormtongue immediately, but then Théoden's there to call him out and be like, no, let's offer this guy mercy. So I don't know.
Well, and they're choosing their own fate, right?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
It's like you're letting them choose instead of you deciding for them.
Yeah, seriously.
And even the wild men after Helm's Deep.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So
They're
I feel like
mercy.
It came up a few times.
It's like a cool byline of it. Like if you're on the good side, they're offering mercy. If you're like not, then you're getting crushed. Like if you're on the bad side.
They don't think they are gonna get crushed. That was so weird because Gandalf was saying like your freedom, right? He said you'll gain freedom, and he laughs at Saruman laughs at him, saying freedom from what or something. It's like he's so caught up in it that he doesn't even realize he's like
that's such
trapped.
A good point. That's such a good point too, because like he is like setting a trap for himself. Like this was all his own doing, and then he thinks he's going to be more free by this, but really he's only like enslaving himself more. And then in this conversation, he's like, "Oh, you know, you'll be free from this." He's like, "No, there's no freedom in this." And he's like, "We're like, you backed yourself into this corner, dude.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be free either way." I don't know.
And then I'm like, what is he going to do? Because now he doesn't have his staff. Without his staff, he has no power. But his voice has power, so that's what's so confusing.
Yeah.
And now he's not the white wizard anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
But wait, I thought he was multicolor by now.
He was.
Saruman.
He was Saruman of many colors, and then he went from Saruman the white. Then he was Saruman of many colors. Now he's Saruman of no color.
Because of
Gandalf.
No
Gandalf.
color.
Because Gandalf took him
Yeah,
away.
because Gandalf. Yeah, I think when Gandalf came back, he became the White Wizard, and then he essentially is telling Saruman here he has. I guess he's telling him he has no power, but I'm the same with you. Like the words that he's saying seem like they're still incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Even without his staff, it seems like he's super dangerous. So are these just skills that he's learned over like thousands of years, or these seem like they're wizard level things? But I don't know. Maybe that's why Wormtongue was introduced too, because he's not a wizard, but he still seems to have these powers in some way.
Yeah, because it made me question if Wormtongue had absorbed that power of like the magic words.
The word, yeah, it does seem like it.
But I was thinking also with showing Saruman mercy, I was like, I don't know how far their friendship lasted, like previous to all of this, but Saruman was turning like dark, I'll say, kind of dark wizard. In like so early on, it felt like even when it was talking about him walking with the Ents and like learning their secrets, like he was like doing that out of selfish like ambition for the power, like all the way back then.
But did anyone know that?
Yeah, but even if he's showing him mercy, I don't know how far, like how long he's already shown his true colors of wanting to be like the powerful.
Right, when the hindsight
wizard,
back at all his actions.
So, but maybe Gandalf knows like his origin, and he's a good person on the inside. I don't know.
Or maybe he just doesn't want to choose for him. Like
yeah. Like if you strip him of all that access to the darkness, like will he still choose that, or will he kind of be free from it?
Right.
Because sometimes I think if you just cut like the access to the bad thing a little bit, or you put a speed bump in the way, people are like relieved to just not be able to do that. Like I was just reading that in another book. These people were doing drugs, and like they're just something came and like intercepted them really quick, and like the person was just like super relieved of like, okay, I don't have to do this now. And like I just
freedom.
Yeah, like just like the random thing that maybe if Gandalf can kind of put a speed bump in his path of like accessing Sauron, or like getting rid of the globe thing, like is he just gonna be like, all right, now I can actually like be myself? I don't know, like maybe he feels like he's enslaved to it.
Yeah, it's a great point. I love because the offer that he gives him here, which I love, what you were kind of saying before, Jen, Reasons for leaving you can see from your window, answered Gandalf. Others will occur to your thought. Your servants are destroyed and scattered. Your neighbors you have made your enemies, and you have cheated your new master, or tried to do so. When his eye turns hither, it will be the red eye of wrath. But when I say free, I mean free. Free from bond of chain or command, to go where you will, even to Mordor, Saruman, if you desire. But you will first surrender to me the key of Orthanc and your staff, and they shall be pledges of your conduct, to be returned later if you merit them.
To be returned.
What? What are we talking about?
Are there no consequences for actions around here?
Seriously.
Oh my.
Oh, but maybe he's good.
It is interesting too that you said that, because it's like, yeah, you're trying to put a little speed bump in his path so that he's actually able
Like
to
he can make
maybe
a decision.
yeah, maybe he could have a recovery from
But
this.
Do
But
you
there's got to be a lot of detox, and a lot of
Yeah.
rehab
True.
from this.
But do you think that Gandalf's thinking once the ring is destroyed, there will not be a pull to the evil side?
That's true.
Maybe.
Like
That's a great
he can
point.
already see the end. Like once the ring's destroyed,
Hmm.
it'll be okay. No more needless death. But yeah, that's interesting.
How do you kill a wizard?
Stab
you
him on
can't.
this water wheel thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
Drown them.
Like it makes me just, that's a great question then, because it makes me curious, like what the gods up there are doing for Middle Earth. Like are they like playing chess? Like did they strip Saruman of his wizard power right here when Gandalf became Gandalf the White? Did Saruman forfeit that up, like, willingly? Is this like, the big question of human will versus divine intervention or whatever it is? Because what power does he have? Did he give up his power? What power does he have now? It seems like he can smooth talk still, but I don't think he's going to have like that much power after his staff was broken. But it doesn't seem like it's a hard and fast break, which is, one of the reasons why I like Tolkien, because it's not like a clear defined system of magic.
Hmm.
But it offers up a lot more confusion and a lot more like interpretation, which I think is more fun.
It feels like the key of Orthanc means something. I don't know what, but key being capitalized and the fact that it gets mentioned a few times, I feel like Orthanc itself is some kind of power or protection or something. And it even made me wonder why Gandalf wanted it. Maybe just as a bond.
Yeah.
To, keep Saruman in check, but maybe there's more. I was just like, maybe.
I got to read you guys this section because I was looking up I was rereading the concerning pipeweed chapter.
Nice.
Because I was like, I want to know about pipeweed now that
Yeah.
they're selling it. And this is one of the paragraphs that I got, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then all of a sudden I got to this name and I was like, hold on, what the heck is going on here? It says, this, he says, is one art that we certainly claim to our own invention. When hobbits first began to smoke is not known. All the legends and family histories take it for granted. For ages, folk in the Shire smoked various herbs, some fouler, some sweeter. But all accounts agree that Tobold Hornblower of Longbottom in the South Farthing first grew the true pipeweed in his gardens in the days of Isengrim II, about the year 1070 of Shire reckoning. The best homegrown still comes from that district, especially the varieties known as Longbottom Leaf, Old Toby, and Southern Star. Was Isengard a person, and then their son was Isengrim? Maybe that's kind of taking me away.
No, I like where this is going because there has to be a connection.
Yeah.
Isn't the Eisen like the whole place too?
Yeah, the Fords of Eisen. That's a great point. Great point.
But then if there is an
Isengrim.
Isengard and an Isengrim, what's the Isengrim?
Yeah.
And does the guard the Eisen from the Isengrim?
But you're Isengrim.
Is it actually a Grim?
Wait, what's Isengrim again? That's a guy or a period of time?
I think it's a person.
A person.
But in Hobbiton with the Shire?
I think Tobold Hornblower of Longbottom and the South Farthing first grew the true pipeweed in his gardens in the days of Isengrim II. So it seems like a ruler.
The days of Isengrim.
But I'm like, there has to be a connection with Isengard, maybe.
There has to be. Maybe.
There has to be. Maybe, and it's like language too, so maybe like Guard is just like the city of or something like that. Is there any other Guard that we see? Like Isengard, it's the only one. Yeah, I think this is like you have to break down words, and I don't have the ability to do that.
Not me. I started when it was talking about Gandalf or Pippin wanting to know the secrets of how like the world was made. I started like skimming that section till the very end, and then I was like, oh wait, that was probably important.
Yeah.
I still have to get out of my like zoning out when
that
I
section
see
was
names.
so funny though, because he was talking about that, and
It
he was
was
just
good.
like, oh, I want to know all these things, and he was just laughing about that, joking about that.
The name of
But it makes me almost like I was coming up with these weird headcanons of like maybe Isengard was a hobbit in infested land before this, or maybe they were way before this, and then Saruman came and kind of was like a Gandalf figure, like, you know, going to spend time with the hobbits, and then maybe he wiped them out and no one knew, and he's like, you know, he put Orthanc down on these dead hobbits' bodies, you know, let's get real dark.
Whoa.
Maybe it's just a name though. Anyway, that was a long detour for that, but I don't know.
I like this line from Pippin. Will he shoot at us and pour fire out of his windows, or can he put a spell on us from a distance? And then it ended up just all being like this power of his really like sweet voice and like that type of magic. I just thought that was funny. The expectation of like their fear is so physical, like they're gonna shoot fire at us, and that's valid coming out of the caves and everything. But yeah, Saruman's such like an understated magic type of guy, which I feel like I didn't even realize either, because all of the orcs, everything is really physical and real and war, but when it actually just gets down to Saruman, he's just like super low key about it.
Yeah, seriously.
Quick question, why are there 27 stairs up to Orthanc, and why do they tell us the number? 27? It's too specific.
Ooh.
I was like, there's probably a whole index in the back about how this happened or why. But the fact that it was mentioned just stood out to me. And I'm like, are we supposed to know? Is there anything? And I'm quick scanning. 27. Do we know 27 of anything? No.
Is it a special number?
It must be. But I don't know why.
I will say, to me, it makes, I don't know, maybe like a little sense within the text, because I don't know how to like fully explain this or like describe it. Orthanc to me didn't feel outside of time, but it felt like there was some kind of like aura around it. Like you almost like you walk into this thing and like time operates differently there, or there's like this barrier or something like that. And so maybe the counting of the steps is like this weird thing that you're almost doing this, counting these steps to make sure, you know, things are still, you're still in like the real world or something.
You're in like some rhythm as you walk up. Oh yeah. I like that idea.
So, because I kind of noticed that too, because I noticed that too when the Palantir was like thrown and it was bouncing along the stairs. I was like, they mentioned the stairs again. Like, what's going on?
And then I couldn't quite tell. It felt like they're probably bigger than I imagined them originally, because I like the idea that they're big old stairs. But then I felt like, is everyone just on the stairs? These stairs must be kind of long and broad if like everyone can be up there, and I'm picturing them on horses, and then I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't know what I'm imagining right now, but either way, big scary black tower.
Yeah.
Gimli kind of spoke quickly when Gandalf is like, yeah, Aragorn's gonna come with me, everyone else wait down here, and Gimli's like, nay. We're gonna come up too. We represent our people. And Gandalf's like, all right. Yeah. I just love that Gimli says things with such conviction, and Gandalf's like, you got it.
Yeah, and he speaks for Legolas in this moment too.
Yep. And there's such trust between them that he can do that, and it's he speaks for him. And then I felt like I wrote Gimli isn't spellbound when I guess there's like they're talking back and forth, and it was Gimli the dwarf who broke in suddenly. The words of this wizard stand on their heads, he growled, gripping at his handle of his axe. In the language of Orthanc, help means ruin and saving means slaying. That is plain, but we do not come here to beg. And I just love that in the moment where you're not sure, when there's murmuring and the writers are murmuring with approval of the words, you just don't, I get this like uneasy feeling like the riders of Rohan are kind of being swayed, and then Gimli just snaps him out of it, and he's like, no way. Yeah. I'm not even close to being swayed by these words. You're crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
Just more reasons to love Gimli.
Yeah, Gimli is so good. It's my favorite.
And then Éomer did the same thing when people were starting to get swayed. He was like,
you
nope,
like talked to Théoden.
I know what you did, and he was just set.
And again, I think this is like the importance of going with a fellowship or a group of people, because I feel like there were moments where each of them were swayed by it, but then another person snapped them out of it. And there was that one moment that you were talking about, like everyone seems swayed by this, and then Gimli snaps him out of it, and then Théoden starts getting swayed by this, and then all of a sudden Éomer snaps him out of it. I feel like they're all moments where there's like they're being weak to some extent, except for maybe Gandalf. Gandalf kind of sees through this, but he can't really stop it from happening to other people. But the other people in this group are kind of strong, and they're helping to stop it themselves.
I thought a lot of the danger though was that they're like turning against their own people, because then their voice sounds so bad right after Saruman. So it's like
It's true.
it's not even that you're trusting Saruman so much as when your own people start to talk that you like start disliking them and mistrusting them. They're like, oh, Gandalf like talks really proudly to Théoden or whatever. And it's like you plant those little seeds of doubt in like your side of it rather than just like jumping onto the other side.
And I love the soft magic. Like, you really don't know how much of this is raw charisma versus actual spells. I'm like, this gray area is fun. I like it, but weird.
It makes you wonder too, because like this has to be some kind of learned skill too. It maybe seems like spell work. Maybe like it's even softer magic. It's even the idea in Harry Potter about the wand just channels the magic. You have magic still within you, so maybe that's what the staff does. It just channels the magic. I'd be curious to know more about the wizards in Middle Earth.
I don't think I've experienced this, but they say that as soon as you get married, you become more attractive to people and you start getting flirted with in ways that you never had before. And I have heard some of my friends mention this because they're like, oh yeah, once you're in a happy relationship, there's a new confidence that comes across, where then all of a sudden it's like this new level of confidence. So I'm picturing that funny. Saruman is like that to the next level. He's just got this confidence because he has been around so long. He's seen it all. So I think when he speaks, even if it wasn't magic, he's speaking with so many years of experience that that confidence would come across in a lot of subtle ways to people. Yeah. And then I think they would just be smitten, so to speak, by by his words, even if there was no magic. But I think there was magic involved here.
It's the power of the ring again.
Oh, you're right.
That's really cool. It is. It's fun too to see how the different old people of Middle Earth, like almost like what they value. Because the elves aren't really like that, but they're immortal. They're more like childlike, and they're more like, they're either like super wise and like dead serious. Like I picture Elrond as like being almost like hovering an inch above the ground. And then you see Legolas, who's like super old too, but he's just out there having a good time. Like Legolas is really the comedic relief of the group. It's interesting. Anything else in this chapter before we go to the last?
I'm just thinking the crowns of the 7 kings and rods of the 5 wizards.
Yeah, I want to know about that.
So is Gandalf one? Is Radagast one? Saruman one?
Yeah, Saruman was one.
I
don't know if there's going to be a gray wizard replacement. I guess not, because maybe the time of wizards is past.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be. Because I was just wondering like the details, and then if his staff was destroyed, I don't know if other people are going to come up, or we're short 2 wizards, maybe 3 now. So, and then even the 7 kings, I don't know enough about the history.
Yeah,
but
because that has to match with the. Does that match with the 7 Palantir?
I couldn't remember if it was 5 or 7. But
there's 7 Palantir.
Yeah. Actually, that sounds right. I forget.
Because there's the one line in the next chapter where he talks about how he's like, oh, I wouldn't touch it. And then Pippin says, if all 7 stones were laid out before me now, I should shut my eyes and put my hands in my pocket.
7 stars and 7 stones.
And people say there are 2 blue wizards.
2 blue
Two blue wizards. Why not like a blue and a red?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Oh, yeah, what's blue significance?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Whoa.
I don't know what they have power over, too. Maybe they're just like in the water. That's where Poseidon is. They're just riding on the dolphins out there. Yeah.
And this feels like another bit of fate, or something where they're throwing a Palantir to try and hit them as a weapon. Like they have nothing else they can throw. He's like, yeah, this heavy thing feels like worth throwing out a window.
Yeah.
Like what in
Or
the world?
does he know what it is and he's giving it up on purpose?
Is this his little thing? He's making a play because like it feels too crazy.
Saruman threw it, right?
No, Wormtongue did.
Because couldn't they be talking, communicating through that, and then Wormtongue know what it is, and then Wormtongue get the cool voice magic, and then is like, here, have this. You kept me alive.
Wow.
That's kind of what I wanted to be.
A little
like.
Redemption.
I don't know.
That'd be all right. I'd be okay with that, I think.
I don't know. I don't mind that. Like I like a good redemption.
Die.
But Wormtongue just is.
If you saw a crystal ball in a wizard's tower,
like I'm just picturing a movie, but like dead center on this pedestal, just like amazing, and then he's just like, oh, cool. Oh yeah, because in Rings of Power they have one of those in Numenor. So
I think this is the Numenorian one they have.
Oh.
Or maybe not.
No, I think you could be right. I remember it said a few things in the next chapter.
I don't mind that. I don't like it that much though, because I feel like this was a moment of rage for him, and Wormtongue to me is someone who makes. I actually don't know. Maybe he doesn't make rash decisions. This to me felt like a moment where he's like, he gets into the tower and he's just so mad. He's been like sitting with Saruman for a long time, and he's like, oh, will they just shut up? And like maybe he's driven mad too, because when all these people start talking, their voices sound harsh and mean. So maybe he's getting inflicted by that as well. So he's like, give me something in the room to throw at them. And he just does this irrationally because maybe the magic of Saruman is playing to him too. And he's like, the first thing that he finds that's like good in a weapon, just tosses it out trying to hit them. Because he was trying to hit Saruman and he was trying to hit Gandalf.
That's what I mean. If he's trying to hit Saruman anyway,
Yeah, that's true.
it might be like, why not?
Yeah.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah, it's a great
No,
it's a great
I don't
point.
know. I don't really feel like he's good or should be alive, but he is.
Well, let's talk about the Palantir then.
Palantir.
It's a good chapter. Well, what do we have in this chapter? You got a quick summary? Danny's going over his notes in the Voice of Saruman chapter. Any last things?
Sure.
I do actually love your little last tidbits. They're some of my favorites.
Well, I just the reminder, the goodbye from Treebeard, so cute with the hobbits, adding them to the song and kind of singing the song. Love that, I was like, oh, it's so nice. And then Treebeard says, trees are coming back to live here. Old trees, wild trees, the watchwood, we will call it. Yeah, it just feels like kind of nice. They're like coming up with names, resettling. So anyways, just the quiet at the end of that mildly stressful chapter.
I love the patience of him too, because like, I mean, it's going to take a long time for trees to grow. But like Ents just have, next level patience, because that's what it does. That's all they know.
All right, summary. Gandalf and crew leave Isengard, then Pippin steals the Palantir, which is weird, and he talks to Sauron, I think, but accidentally tricks Sauron. So Gandalf and Pippin leave on Shadowfax for Minas Tirith, and Gandalf says, hope is in speed. It sounds like Gandalf has a plan, but I'm not totally sure what it is.
Yeah, the plan is all over the place. I feel like it's revealed to Pippin as they're going along. But it was an interesting chapter. Very different from the movie, obviously, but this one was strange. This was the first thing that I actually had a question on this chapter. It's like it's the third paragraph in this one. It says, they came to the pillar of the white hand. The pillar was still standing, but the graven hand had been thrown down and broken into small pieces. Right in the middle of the road, the long finger lay, white in the dust, its red nail darkening to black. The Ents pay attention to every detail, said Gandalf. They rode on, and evening deepened in the valley. I didn't get that. What are the Ents paying attention to? What is happening with his hand?
Me either.
Really?
I was like, did they set the hand up in a way on purpose, like after it was broken?
Yeah.
So one finger, I thought maybe the finger pointed at something.
I felt like it was the middle
nail.
finger or something.
Who's got
like
red
that.
nails and why?
Yeah.
I was like, did Sauron have painted nails? Or
Yeah.
Saruman, I mean? So I was confused too.
I thought it's a sign or is it not even a sign? I thought it was like Isengard this way, and they like
Maybe,
destroyed this sign because Isengard doesn't exist anymore.
Because I feel like when they were walking in, it was a big boulder on top of some tower thing, and then on the boulder was the hand.
The hand of
if
Saruman,
this was the same one, but then it just like it's darkening to black, meaning it's getting dark out.
How
Is that what that
does it
means?
do that?
But right in the middle of the road, and attention to every detail. Like, what was the detail of this? That was.
I totally lost that.
A long forefinger. That's the pointer finger, right?
I think so, yeah.
Lay white in the dusk.
Okay, some of the comments. The white hand of Saruman is being washed away. The hand statue is almost bloody. The red nail was painted that way to show Saruman was over there, like a sign that only the orcs can read. Huh.
They like red nail polish.
Yeah. He's over here.
How to survive the orcs fingernails.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that meme where it shows your fingernails. That's just what they're painting on. Or that what is it, emoji?
Yes.
Oh.
That's funny.
All wizards should have a hobbit or two in their care.
Yeah, that was
They're
a
like
great
pets.
section. Yeah, related to
They're
this.
like pets.
Yeah, he's like happy to have like take care of him and have him along.
Yep.
They're like little children for them.
Yeah, that's
It really is. They are like
Better.
sidekicks. It's kind of cute.
I was really trying hard to have my distinction between Merry and Pippin.
Yeah,
and
me
I feel like
too.
I'm starting to build it
Yep,
now.
Yeah, I
same.
love that. What's the distinction in your guys' head?
I think Merry is funnier. Mary's goofier. And
Disagree.
then Pippin, I don't know. Pippin has some good one-liners, but he's not as funny to me as Merry is.
I
But
think of Pippin as being a
maybe I
little
also
more
wrong.
funny, I guess. Or like, you know what? Just a little more immature. But Merry, I think, is very smart. He's got good comebacks. But for me, the distinction I'm making is just trying to not just read their name and think one of the two of them.
Yeah.
I try to like picture them. And
Yeah.
I every time have to say to myself a line from the movie to like help remind me which one is the right one.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of where, actually maybe it's similar to this, where Merry gets on a horse with Gandalf and then talks to Pippin and says, "You smoke too much, Pip." And then I'm like, all right, if he's saying it to the other one, that helps me keep straight who's who.
Yeah, so Merry says it to Pippin. Pippin's on the horse. And they're
Oh, yes, he's looking up at him on the horse.
They're at the Golden Hall in the
Yep.
stable.
And that's right before this,
And he
where
gives
they go to
he gives him the
Minas Tirith,
last
right?
of the old Toby.
Yep.
And he's like, "You smoke too much, Pip."
So like picturing his face as he says that, then I'm like, all right, longer hair, whatever. I don't know, because I'm trying to
It's
like
hard to-
distinct, be more distinct about it.
Pippin is Charlie. This isn't going to help you at all. No, Merry is Charlie.
But it's so weird because he looks so different.
Yeah, I know, he does look so
Does
different.
that mean anything to you, Jen?
Merry
'Cause
is
it
Charlie
should.
in Lost.
Remember we watched a few episodes of Lost, rewatched it.
Wait.
You know, the rock star.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's the
did
same
you
guy.
never put this together?
No.
Oh, cool.
Wait, Mary is.
Merry is Charlie in
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it now.
Yeah.
But he does look just very, very different, you know?
No, he's got the same face.
He
Yeah.
sure does.
I think I disagree with you. I think Pippin's funnier. I think
Mm,
Pippin has
whatever.
better
Didn't
Didn't we
one-liners.
have this conversation last time?
think-
too?
I think we
all
did,
I
but-
think
trying
Merry
to-
is funnier.
It's
I
good
think
to
we're
harp
gonna
on it
get
more.
we're gonna get some of the humor chapter to chapter and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
there's another good one. Oh, that's one. Oh, yeah.
I do think that's one of the Tolkien's best little attributes. Like in like really tense moments, all of a sudden he will throw something that's funny in there. Like they're riding and they're potentially going back to Helm's Deep, and Pippin keeps asking all these questions. It was my favorite part of this chapter, and he goes, "I should like to know," Pippin began. "Mercy!" cried Gandalf. "If the giving of information is to be the cure of your inquisitiveness, I shall spend all the rest of my days in answering you. What more do you want to know?" And then he goes, "The names of all the stars, and of all living things, and the whole history of Middle Earth, and over heaven, and what the sun and of the sundering seas," laughed Pippin. He goes, "Of course, what less?" And I want to talk about this part later, but was a great section. I thought that was so funny.
I love that because he can just like knows how to push the buttons a little bit and like isn't scared of that. He's not like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll just be quiet. It's just like everything. Tell me everything.
There's a meme that I just found the other day where it talks about there's 3 pictures, and the first one is Isildur's Bane, and that's the ring. Isildur's Bane is the ring. And they have Durin's Bane, and Durin's Bane is the Balrog. And then they have Gandalf's Bane, and it's just a picture of Pippin going with his pipe or something like that.
That's great. At the beginning of the chapter, Gandalf says they've only won the first victory. There was some link between Isengard and Mordor, which I have not yet fathomed. And I guess I just was like, have not yet fathomed. Like, it feels like to him this is some serious link. And of course, it's fitting for this chapter. They find out it's the Palantir. But I also was like, couldn't it be like a million other things too? Like just sending messengers back and forth?
Yeah.
Or some other kind of power? Or Nazgul's just flying back and forth? It just felt like, is that really the thing? Like there's some magical link. It didn't feel like, I'm curious why he thought it was so urgent. Because I kind of was like, is it really? It doesn't feel like it's important enough to be like, we got to find this link. So I guess there's less communication in this world than I thought. Yeah. Even just crows. I'm like, the crows have been going around doing your little spy thing. Couldn't they be flying from Mordor back and forth to Isengard to be like, hey, here's what's going on?
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't know.
I guess this is quicker amounts of information. It's weird though, because there's like, I don't know if this is just being perverted. This kind of like thing is being perverted by Sauron. And so that's why it seems so dark and evil. But the thing just seems to, like, the attachment that it gets on Pippin is almost immediate. Like, no one else really touches it besides Pippin. And then he does give it to Aragorn after, which is another interesting section.
Oh, yeah, that was really interesting.
But I don't know. I finished the chapter almost thinking something different from y'all. I was like, this seems darker than anything else that we've encountered in the book so far. And then everyone just kind of jokes about it, saying that it's just a cell phone or it's just like a Zoom call. It's like, oh, hey, buddy, you just touch it. Hey, what's up? How you doing over there in Osgiliath? But I don't know. It seemed dark and not great for me.
Yeah, driven by some impulse that he did not understand. And it did say that a few times, like, the thought of the dark globe seemed to grow stronger and all grew quiet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it could be soft magic stuff, but it felt to me like there was real pull. And he did know it was wrong too.
Yeah. But then again, maybe when he touches this, the darkness is really just what's on the other side of the line. Because maybe there's no inherent darkness in this thing. Because I mean, like, I guess the Kingdom of Numenor was using this to communicate with different cities. But
why was it so scary and bad for Pippin?
Yeah.
But then not a big deal for Aragorn. But then Gandalf's like, yeah, don't use it yet. And then Aragorn's like, yeah, but maybe I should, right? And then Gandalf's like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
So it felt like a little funny. And then, like, it wasn't as urgent.
Gandalf was like, oh, it's a good thing that you touched this Pippin rather than me, because if I touched it, then, we would have revealed our plans. So I guess it is just like a little cell phone thing that you can kind of see what the other person's doing. But then, was there any torture involved? Was there any pain that Pippin went through? Because that's something different from the movies that I was caught up on a little bit. I actually kind of forgot, because I just read this afternoon and I don't quite remember. Because in the movies, he's like laying there and he goes, he hurt me. And like Pippin seems like he's in actual pain.
Right. And in this one, so true.
And in this one, the only thing that I really remember is that when he finished this, it said he like looked up and was like blankly staring. Like there was nothing in his eyes. And he was like looking straight up at the sky. And they had to like wake him up from this.
He gave a gasp and struggled, but he remained bent, clasping the ball with both hands. Closer and closer he bent,
stiff, right?
Then became rigid. A strangled cry was piercing. Yeah, it's hard to tell if this was just startling or if there was actual pain or torture. Certainly not a pleasant experience. And then I couldn't tell if Gandalf needed, like, let's say Gandalf wasn't around. Would he have been like, Petrificus Totalis here for days or weeks? Or was this just like, all right, we can't give you 20 minutes to come to, so I'm going to magic you to life again, so they can ask him questions.
And people are making good comments online too, saying that it's like telepathic. So that's why you can kind of infect someone's mind with it. It's almost because I almost felt like it was some kind of seizure that Pippin was going through. Or no, good.
I just think like the dangers in the fact that you're talking or you're accessing Sauron. So like if it's just going to another city, there's no temptation to be like looking into there. It's just like in whatever waiting room that thing is sitting in. But then I think it's just like because you're just direct communicating into the center of all of the evil, that it's like he's able to pull you into that, and then you want to release yourself and let go, and then you can't because he's trying to like dig into your mind because he's using it pervertedly, and then Saruman was using it pervertedly too. So I thought it was more the danger of like who you're communicating with rather than just the actual thing. And then if all these normal people had it, that would never have been a danger anyway, because
true.
Sauron wouldn't have one, and it would just be like a little walkie-talkie that only good people have. No danger.
It's interesting too. That's a great point. I find one of the things that I like even about this whole chapter is I think you almost see like a softer side of Gandalf, because I think in the movies he's almost too grumpy, and I was trying to think through this today too. I think he's still very grumpy in the book, but he has like moments of grumpiness. In this one, he's treating with Pippin after he touches it. He's a lot softer and gentler with him. Even when they're on the horse, like there's moments of grumpiness, but like he seems very quickly to forgive Pippin and to like just move on to the next thing, which is a really cool attribute that I think Gandalf has. But I guess he doesn't necessarily like when he is riding with Pippin, he's almost like rolling his eyes the whole time in the movies. He's like, great, I have to carry this stupid hobbit with me the rest of the way. But in the book, he's like not bummed about it. He's like, this is his buddy. I kind of love it. That's like
it was kind of like his child, though. Like it was like, because he even talks about like someone you're more punished if you get burned by the fire. Than me telling you not to do it or something like that. I don't know the line, but it just reminded me of like, you know, someone that cares, but he's like, well, you're gonna learn on your own.
Yeah, because that's what he was even saying before with like, you gotta like learn the hard way.
The burned hand teaches best. After that, advice about fire goes to the heart.
I
have that in my banger one-liners.
Yeah, nice.
I love that you have a whole notes section on that. You gotta send us that later.
Banger one-liners indeed.
There's like 50 on that list.
I know, there's a lot of good ones.
I thought it was crazy. The touching of the Palantir almost seemed to like open up the floodgates of Mordor, though, because then as soon as that happened, they tried to get some sleep, and all of a sudden a Nazgul was flying over the moon and like blocking out the freaking moon. That
little paragraph where Gandalf was like, "Get up, we have to go now." I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is scary."
Because I thought it was gonna wind down after that. We were gonna get like a slow thing, but my heart was pumping at the end of this when they're like racing to get to Gondor, and he's like, "Oh no, we're not going to Helm's Deep. We're gonna stop real quick in Edoras, and then we're just going straight from there."
There's some good shadow facts.
Was that the other city?
Yeah, like, well, Gondor is like kind of the realm of man. No, it's too broad.
That's the one in the movie we're at, where it's the brother of
Boromir.
Exactly. Yeah, where Faramir and Boromir live, the White City. I feel like that when we say Gondor, it's like that ruined city. It's called Osgiliath, and then Minas Tirith, which is where they're going now.
It's also the same.
Oh yeah, it's like that little zone.
Close.
And then Rohan is kind of like where they currently are. So they're.
I know Rohan.
And Gondor and Rohan are like, you know.
But then,
close-ish.
and then where is oh my gosh, the place that they just destroyed, the Ents destroyed.
Isengard.
Yeah.
Let me show you on our map.
Yes, I love it.
So Gondor is here, the whole kingdom on the south side of this mountain range. But then over here, it's not on this map, but that's where Osgiliath is on this river. That's where Minas Tirith is. Edoras is where they're going now. And Helm's Deep, I think, would be right along this mountain range.
And why is it so important right now?
Here we go.
No, I know, but why is it so important that Gandalf's going to this location?
I don't know if we know enough yet.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually.
Yeah,
why
I'm
does
curious too.
he have this immediate flight over there? And why does he not bring Aragorn with him? That seems like the only natural person to bring with him.
I know. Well, is it just a practical horse thing where he's like, Shadowfax can only take me and one other, so.
A small one other.
Let's see.
I had never thought about that. That's actually a great question.
He wants to go to...
So they have to do this.
Wherever the tomato guy is.
300 miles.
Denethor? Is that the reason why he's going to talk to Denethor?
Because then the little poem said the one white tree.
Boromir's dad.
Which I thought was like setting that up.
Yeah. Oh. Tall ships and tall kings. 3 times 3. What brought they from the foundering land over the flowing sea? 7 stars and 7 stones and 1 white tree. But that was Gandalf just singing that song to like remind himself of this.
To remind him of lore.
Yeah. That wasn't something that we got in the Palantir. Like, why did Gandalf decide then? What was the vision that he has in the Palantir? Did they have a vision of?
Well, in the movies,
Gondor's burning, the white tree's burning.
Wasn't here, though.
Yeah.
And so I was confused too, because in the movies that feels like, well, we gotta go to Minas Tirith, the white tree. That's what it must mean. And then I think he says like his eye is set on Minas Tirith. We must go. But I don't know. There were a few things that made me wonder where Gandalf is looking, and he says, "Look in my eyes," and Pippin looks him right in the eyes, and then afterwards Gandalf says, "There was no lying, he's an honest fool, whatever." But I also wondered, was he doing a little mind reading? Was he like getting a feel for something? Yeah. Was there more there where then eventually we're going to find out and he's going to say, "I could tell, I knew what Pippin experienced. I saw the flash of the white tree. I knew Minas Tirith, that's why we're here." But I feel like we didn't get that clarity in this chapter.
Yeah, definitely didn't get that in this one. I do love how fast this horse is, but I feel like that would be an uncomfortable 3-day ride.
You do not ride Shadowfax. He is willing to carry you.
Only a matter of time.
What a pet owner.
Yeah.
He's chosen me.
This was crazy, I thought. He has power still, I think, while in Ornthak to resist the 9 Riders. He may try to do so. He may try to trap the Nazgul, or at least to slay the thing on which it now rides in the air. So Saruman is gonna try to kill the Nazgul?
Yeah, I was
interesting. I never caught that.
Trap it and live with it in the tower? Like, I don't know.
Wait, what page is that on?
227.
Bad, right?
He has power still, I think, while in Orthanc to resist the 9. 1v9, he still wins without a staff. Like, what the? Who is this guy?
Dang.
Like, or at least resist them. Like, he could just be holed up in there, but yeah, like he would win? I don't know. But trapping? Like, what is it? But what is his plan? Let's say he does trap a Nazgul. Then what?
Yeah, what do you do with that?
Like, whoa. And so it makes me think Gandalf knows more about all this crazy stuff. And I still don't fully get what happened with the Balrog. But is there Nazgul equivalent to defeating a Nazgul, absorbing its power, coming back
interesting.
with a different color?
I don't think I know what this is. Do I?
What do you mean? A Nazgul? It's like the big flying thing. So like we just saw in the movies, Sam and Frodo and Gollum are like going through the marshes, and then the thing flies over, and they're like, "Oh, get down."
It's bad because it's like watching for, right?
Well, yeah, and now it's because in the Palantir, they saw a hobbit, so now they're sending a Nazgul over to be like, "Ooh, you have a hobbit? Keep him right there. I'll be there in a second."
Got it.
If it's 2 sentences, it's not on. The burn one is the only one that's allowed.
Wow.
Yeah. There's so many one-liners that like jokes and stuff that I want to put on it too.
The dark shadow yonder is the mouth of the deeping combe. That way lies Aglarond and the glittering caves.
Which you might visit if you see Gimli again.
Oh, I know.
Not very hopeful.
I do love how this book ends. Away now, Shadowfax. Run, great heart. Run as you've never run before. Now we are come to the lands where you are foaled, and every stone you know. Run now. Hope is in speed. Shadowfax tossed his head and cried aloud, as if a trumpet had summoned him to battle. Then he sprang forward. Fire flew from his feet. Night rushed over him. As he fell slowly into sleep, Pippin had a strange feeling. He and Gandalf were still as stone, seated upon the statue of a running horse, while the world rolled away beneath his feet with a great noise of wind. Great wind. You guys have anything else in this chapter?
There was a guy named Tyrion the Fair. I thought Game of Thrones reference.
Oh, really?
I just didn't know that the name Tyrion was from Lord of the Rings because I'd never heard it before Game of Thrones.
Huh.
And so it's
Where was that?
Well, I was looking actually at the White Tree, so it's like a page or two before the end. Gandalf is kind of saying he wanted to look in the Palantir to test his own will.
Yeah.
And then he says, I would look across the wide seas of water and time to Tyrion the Fair and perceive the unimaginable hand and mind of Fëanor at their work, while both the White Tree and Golden were in flower. So that is the only reference to White Tree in this chapter, I think. And I'm wondering if that thought is what is bringing him over, because he's saying, oh, well, White Tree and Golden flower, maybe connecting to the elves or whatever. But then there's something about the White Tree. Maybe he's saying, well, if that's my desire, I wonder if that's also the desire of Sauron. So maybe there's something about Minas Tirith. I don't know. Or maybe he's just referencing a different time. But also, can you look back in time in these things? It kind of felt like maybe you don't know what you could see, but there could be a little time travel element looking at the past or the future.
Yeah.
Like Galadriel's mirror.
We have Tyrion upon Tuna, the first and fairest city of the elves.
Tyrion upon Tuna?
I don't know. That's what it
sounds like a meal.
Yeah, I know. You put a little Tyrion upon Tuna?
Yeah, Tyrion upon Tuna.
The fairest meal of the...
And Fëanor seems like some kind of god or something in Noldor.
I think Fëanor is
lost.
one of the main characters of the Silmarillion.
Oh, okay.
I think that rings a bell. And again, I just only hear this from like some comments people throw on the YouTube channel. But I think he's like one of the goats of Silmarillion.
Okay. It just said time long ago that cannot be measured in years. So I didn't know if that meant just like a long time ago or something more. But yeah, lots of things. This is the classic JRR move because then it references so many things. And I'm like, well, there could be books on every little sentence in here.
Again, yeah, it just feels like history, which is why I like this so much, because it's like, this is like the culmination of his work. So you can just go back at any time and like he's already thought through the history of all these characters and all these people and he's just throwing it in here.
Yep. So, 300-mile ride from where they are.
Yeah.
100 miles to Edoras and then 200 more. I can't even put that in perspective, but on horseback, that sounds terrible. Yeah. I mean, it'd be a blast at the beginning. Yeah. Shadowfax sounds amazing, of course, but I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, that would be absolutely brutal. I would hate that. I wonder how far that is from here.
Oh, Virginia is 400 miles away.
Goodness, that's
like, whoa.
That's quite a road trip.
Ride a horse from here to Virginia.
So that's a 6-hour road trip.
Yeesh.
On modern highways, no Shadowfax. So
as bouncing around.
That's as the Nazgul flies. Nice.
All right, let's do the little wrap up. Who was your favorite character? These chapters. What was your favorite moment? And use the hot tamale.
I'm ready.
All right.
Lizzie, go first, though.
You go first.
Okay, nice. I got scolded for going first during Harry Potter, so.
You can go. Go ahead.
I am going to say favorite character is going to be Gandalf.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like he has not been my favorite yet, but I feel like he was shining a little more in these chapters. One of the times he snapped everyone out of it when Saruman was talking. I love seeing him be softer and then reveal more. It was a little bit of Dumbledore stuff with Mary, but then with Pippin, I felt like he started to open up a little bit. And then I was like, all right, good. We're seeing a softer side. So yeah, Gandalf. Favorite moment, talking to Saruman. Nah, I can't be my favorite. It wasn't good. I just loved reading it because it was I was so tense and just feeling like it was different than the movies already, and I'm starting to feel like, oh, there's tension. Is this going to go the way I hope it does? I don't know. So yeah, and then Hot Tamale I'll keep thinking about.
Given my favorite moment, my favorite character in this one is Aragorn, just for the first chapter when he's and then he gets the Palantir. But the first chapter where he's like, you know, skirting what his kingly responsibilities should be for just friendship. I thought that was great. My favorite moment was the joke that Pippin told at the end of the chapter when they're riding on the horse, and he's like, "Oh, tell me about the seven and the history of Middle Earth and all this other stuff." I thought that was so funny. I love that. Hot Tamale, I'm gonna give that to Pippin. He was very spicy in these chapters. I really like him.
Is that it?
That's all I got.
Okay. I'm gonna give my Hot Tamale to Theoden because I feel like he had some good comebacks for Saruman when they were talking by the tower.
Oh yeah, nice.
My favorite character I'm gonna say is Merry because I think he's funny. And maybe something with the Ents, like Treebeard. Favorite moment because I feel like he's not gonna show up for a while. I really liked when he was talking to the hobbits and said that they didn't speak as much as he thought, and like they had more composure sort of. So I like that, and that he ended up writing a song about them.
That's great.
I don't know if that's a moment or if that's a favorite character, but that both of those.
I'm giving Mary my Hot Tamale. Because I forgot with the welcoming them to Isengard and all that, telling the story.
Was that Mary that welcomed? Like,
like Pippin was already sounds like fairly drunk or sleepy or both or whatever. And I think Mary was like, all right, I got to keep my composure. So like then I think in a lot of the story when he was talking to Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli, I think Mary was telling most of that story.
Okay. I liked that chapter a lot.
Yeah, it was a good chapter.
That was probably my favorite moments.
Come here.
I liked Gandalf's favorite character, especially when he was like willing to give Saruman like a second chance.
That was really
mercy,
cool.
Yeah.
The freedom conversation, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't agree with it, but I thought it was like the right thing to do too, in a way. Hot tamale. I don't know. I don't think I have one. Hot tamale.
Worm tongue.
Ew. No. I don't know, Merry or Pippin.
Yeah, I feel like that's a natural one.
Yeah, they're both solid.
This was like, I guess there weren't necessarily too many hot tamales in this chapter, but Merry or Pippin, we'll give it to them. Well, that's all we got. I threw this question out on our Discord yesterday, and I said, if all of the trees in the world became Ents overnight, and they had a fight for their country, which country would win?
Whoa. Ooh, interesting.
I mean,
What do you mean, like, in terms of like who has the most forest?
they were fighting. I mean, it could
No, it's more than just.
be. It could be. I
Or
mean,
the
Canada would
variety
be pretty
of
good.
trees.
Yeah,
Russia
Canada
would be
and
pretty
Russia
good.
would have.
But we have
tons.
sequoias and redwoods.
And they would pack
What
up.
about, like,
Yeah, the
Crab
redwoods.
trees?
Boom.
Yeah. Huh?
The redwoods.
I
I'm
know.
just thinking they're massive.
But
Yeah.
then I'm thinking of
That's all
like
you
the
need.
big trees, like the banyan
Where-
trees, or like
I
things
haven't
like that
seen them, I
wide
guess.
stretching.
Or like just the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah,
Like,
the entire, or like the Durian Gap in what is that? Panama.
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
where
yeah.
there are literally no.
Yeah, there's no
roads.
roads. You can't even get
And
across
those aren't
it,
even Ents, and you cannot get through them. So if they came alive, they would take over.
That's a great question. Great point.
That's so funny.
But that'll be the end question. But thanks for joining us on this journey of the Fellowship of First Time Readers. Until next time.
Woo.
Oh man, there's one more thing I was gonna say.
What do you got?
I can't remember.
Nah.
Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh yeah, it was. I thought I was laughing to myself reading about Mary was talking about, or I think Mary had said Pippin when he couldn't sleep, how he hadn't slept in a bed in so long.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, Or then he says, no, a proper bed.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was throwing shade on Lothlorien.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that doesn't count. Meanwhile, I'm thinking that's like heaven.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean a real one, like in the Shire. Like, wow, the Shire is better to him than the magical elf forest.
I feel like they're painting the Shire as like this Eden place. I would rather sleep in my own bed after all this too.
Yeah, something familiar. But they missed their beds.
Me too.
This is being very snuggly. All right, everyone, thanks for joining. We'll see you guys. See you guys soon for the picking up of book 4, which will probably happen in like, we'll delay this a little bit, take a little breather, and then pick this up in a few weeks.
Nice.
So, see you guys. Thanks for watching.